we want to see the Ukraine liberated, and that happens more quickly if they've got the defence materiel support that they require. And this government has been very, very slow to act. I don't understand why, and they should be doing more to provide support in the Ukraine, because it's important that President Zelensky prevails here. This would be a huge propaganda win, let alone the humanitarian crisis that would be created if Putin was successful in taking Ukraine. It would have a knock-on effect to broader Europe, and that's why you're seeing countries now engage with NATO in a way that they haven't since the Second World War been interested in the events in Europe. So these are very serious times, and when the Prime Minister says that this is the most precarious period since the Second World War, he's dead right, and I agree absolutely with that analysis. The government's ripped $1.5 billion out of defence funding in this country, and they've delayed acquisition of necessary elements of acquisition for defence for the three services at a time when we should be accelerating our acquisitions. And again, I think Richard Marles and others have been completely and utterly distracted by the Voice over the last 17 months, and it's why this Prime Minister is just never across the detail and so out of touch with ordinary Australians.
Just lastly, the government's also announced a $2 billion expansion in critical minerals financing. Is that needed?
Well, look, I really welcome the announcement, but the government is not approving any new sites. The companies we're speaking to at the moment are taking capital away from Australia and not setting up new projects and taking it elsewhere in the world. These are global companies. They've got limited capital in their balance sheet, and they will go where there's no risk. There's sovereign risk now for our country with very trusted partners like South Korea and the Japanese, and that is the first time that we've seen that. The industrial relations changes are sending a shiver down the spine of all of those mining companies, and they're now not proceeding with projects. So the government, on the one hand, hits the accelerator and then taps the brakes, and they don't have any commitment to the mining sector. And the people of Western Australia have woken up to this and realised that Tanya Plibersek and Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese of the hard left of the Labor Party are no friends of WA or the mining states otherwise. There's enormous wealth to be generated for our country. The silica plant in Western Australia is likely to close under Labor's energy policy. It's one of the key elements, of course, into solar panels, and the government has no regard for that whatsoever. And if we're going to close down manufacturing and make it harder for companies like this to continue to operate, it's no wonder people are switching off Anthony Albanese, and a lot of Australians are just asking themselves at the moment, where did Anthony Albanese go that I voted for in 2022? He's a completely different bloke and a shadow of his former self, and is making all sorts of decisions, but they're the wrong decisions for our country. And a Liberal government will clean up Labor's mess and will make sure that we get our country back on track by helping families and small businesses. Thank you very much.